You might be thinking the same thing I am after having read the title of this blog post. Toxic positivity? What a, what a strange combination of words. In fact, it's an oxymoron. But the people who are using it, like seriously using it, don't see it as an oxymoron whatsoever. They're like making it a thing. So if I understand correctly what they're saying, I read this article. A great friend of mine, former coaching client, Lana Hawk. Thanks, Lana, for sending me that article. She sent me this interesting article that was from Huffington Post yesterday through LinkedIn. And it was actually the article, in case you want to look it up, I'll probably tag it or link it in here. Because it is interesting. I just disagree with 98% of it. It's entitled, What is Toxic Positivity? Why it's okay to not be okay right now. All right, so the gist, as I took it, is this: is like it's an article that serves to validate those of us who are really struggling right now. At the time of this recording, we are still like 3 months into, in America, 3 months into the COVID-19 pandemic. Okay, and quarantine and all that's coming with it, and all the stuff that's potentially quite scary for some, right? And legitimately so. So it legitimizes the fears that people are having, and it criticizes some people who are like making posts on social media for saying, "Hey, keep your chin up. Come on, man. Yeah, this too shall pass." And if you're not using your time productively, then you need more discipline. Now, I do agree that those can be very insensitive posts or suggestions. Like if you're not finishing that novel you wanted to create, if you're not learning French during this quarantine, then you're being undisciplined. I think that that's bullshit. Total bullshit, actually. It's just projection. That's somebody's goddamn opinion. It has nothing to do with anybody else. It's a possibility for some. Now, some people are just trying to put food on the damn table. They didn't think about learning another freaking language. Okay, and I get that. But the whole article, which I think is contributed to by, or at least references like clinical social workers and psychologists from around the world, is they're all saying that they're in agreement that there's a thing called toxic positivity, which I'm interpreting as completely phony positivity, by saying like, oh, this will be okay, this too shall pass. So there's let's break down that phrase, toxic positivity. Toxic positivity is a complete oxymoron. It's kind of like saying, I'm really concerned about all this miserable joy that's going around. It's rampant, miserable joy. What the? It doesn't even make a bit of sense. If it's true positivity, then it can't be toxic. So the only way it could be toxic is if it's fraudulent or phony, fake, right? Inauthentic. So here's a phrase that I love to use. I use this all the time in my work. The pessimist complains about the wind. The optimist is sure it'll go away. And the realist sets their sails and hauls ass across the sea. So let's slow that down. Let's break that down, because that's completely relevant to this whole point. That toxic negativity or toxic positivity does not exist, right? That's just delusion is what they're referring to, right? Now, so in the story, there's only one hero, and there are two losers. So both the pessimist and the optimist are the losers. The realist, and by realist, we mean the person, the word realist itself means of reality, right? So it's the realist is the person who doesn't have a problem with what is, who doesn't have a problem with reality, who not only doesn't have a problem with it, but knows that it can be created from. So that's the winner, right? So the pessimist is actually more powerful than the optimist in this context, because at least they're being authentic and honest about their complaint about the wind being a problem. They're not lying about it, right? The optimist is the weakest of the trio, because they, in addition to also having a problem with the wind, calling that set of circumstances problematic, then is deluding themselves about it, just being in some la-la land saying, oh, it'll go away. Whereas the realist is like, what is wrong with you people? This can be utilized. See you later. I'm out of here. And they create some magic. Now, here's another story that captures this. This is so great. I'll preface it by saying, if this is a big if you have done the work of training your mind, that's a huge if for most people because we haven't had the training. Like it doesn't exist in schools. Like it still remains true that a puny percentage of humans have ever accessed mental toughness training, right? But if in fact you have, and you've developed some mastery in it, right, which means that you have trained yourself, reprogrammed yourself to interpret reality in functional ways, right, in ways that increase the probability of you being amazing or creating excellence, then you only see everything that occurs as an event. You don't see it as a problem. Now, I will submit that takes a lot of practice, and that's what in this article in Huffington Post that nobody's even talking about. They're talking about it's like you either just acknowledge that this sucks and go ahead and be miserable, right? And you're validated, and everybody's like writing. Every single person that responded to this point on that article is like, oh, thank you so much for validating me. And that's cool. It's important that they feel like, okay, I'm normal. That's a hugely valuable to get rid of. Like, is there something wrong with me? Should I be learning French right now? Because I feel kind of like shit. And it's totally healthy to get validated. Yeah, it's normal for you to feel like shit. And there's maybe an alternative to it. But it will take some work, okay? Let me tell you the story. It's a story about Herbie Hancock telling a story. It is Herbie Hancock telling a story about a lesson he learned from Miles Davis that occurred from a performance that they did together. So they were in Stuttgart, Germany, and they were performing. And during Miles Davis is a famous trumpeter, right? Jazz trumpeter. And Herbie Hancock's one of my favorite piano players in history. He's so great. And so he's playing piano. In the middle of Miles' solo, Herbie plays a chord that he himself described as a terrible mistake. It was like a totally off chord. He was like, it was the wrong sound at that moment. And he was like kind of mortified. He's like, oh. Now, meanwhile, he's like waiting, oh shit, what's gonna happen? Miles like paused for just like a second and then started responding to it, like changed it up. So he rolled with it and then created from it. And it blew. Herbie's like, I couldn't play for like 30 seconds. I'm like, oh my God, this guy just created medicine out of poison. So here's like the whole point, is that because of the level and quality and depth of Miles Davis's training, his level of mastery based on like the decades of work that he's done at honing his craft, he is now capable of doing that. And what is it that he's capable of doing? He's capable of seeing what happens as simply an event, not as a mistake. Miles Davis did not, even for a moment, interpret that as a mistake by Herbie. In fact, he was probably more like, oh, nice. Yeah, okay. I'm feeling that. I've been to see that come on. And then create from it. I mean, how beautiful is that? Right? So that's the alternative option that is not discussed in these conversations about stupid toxic positivity. Like, and the conversation just falls short. Like, yay, good on you for validating people, for having them feel normal, for having the feelings that they have, because by virtue of you having it, it means it's normal. Okay, but the next question is, the article doesn't even sniff, is there an other option available to us in terms of how we're interpreting all of this? So we're not discounting anything. I'm acknowledging this. So here's the practice. Okay, so this all takes practice. To be able, obviously, Miles Davis had to practice for decades, right, to be able to respond like that. That's true mastery. It's beautiful. So, and guess where the practice really starts? When we connect it back to interpreting reality, like interpreting a pandemic and like potentially losing money or your job and all these unwanted events. The practice starts with stopping complaining. That's where it starts. That's where the practice starts. Okay, so let's start practicing. Let's get some more practice in today and get closer to that level of like Miles Davis mastery, so that we can respond with true mastery, right, and grace and creative genius to everything that life throws at us. So the practice is to catch yourself in complaint and to replace it with thinking like this. This is not what I wanted. This set of circumstance is not what I asked for or wanted. Nope. And let's get busy exploring what I might be able to create from this, because every set of circumstances can be created from, but only if viewed masterfully. Till next time, great miracles.